Today I'll be reviewing Boruto episode 44, Shikadai's Doubts. So I really enjoyed how the Boruto anime is giving other characters aside from the main characters, Boruto, Sarada, and Mitsuki, not to mention Konohamaru, Naruto, and the rest, like screen time. So first was Sumire, who got her arc, and then we also got Sarada and Mitsuki, but we already kind of knew about them. But now we're getting Shikadai, which is somebody you probably wouldn't think would get anything about, but it looks like we are. So in this episode, we find out the boy from the Byakuya gang's name, and it's Ryugi. And I'll be talking about him a bit later, but I really want to talk about Shikadai. So let's start from the beginning. So the episode starts out with Boruto and the others at the police building, and he's gathered with all his old classmates. And they're supposed to help if with the Byakuya gang stuff. So if they see him, they just report it. And Denki wonders what they should do if they actually run into them, and Iwabe says that they have no choice but to fight or capture them if possible. And he asks Boruto if he agrees, and Boruto says that he doesn't, and everyone, well, Iwabe is surprised, because it seems kind of out of character for Boruto, because you'd expect him to agree, because he's more of a fight now, ask questions later type of person. But he just says that he's been thinking lately. And we know from previous episodes what's on his mind, and it's what the Byakuya gang's been doing and if it's right or wrong. And later, while on a mission, the Byakuya gang attacks, and Team Iwabe is near, so Iwabe decides to attack them back and ends up trapping them in his Earth-style jutsu, but they end up breaking free, and they end up aiming for Denki, but Metal Lee ends up protecting Denki and ends up hurt in the hospital. And later, while in the hospital, we see Udon, who's his sensei. I completely forgot Udon was Metal Lee's sensei. They actually showed that in Boruto the movie, but I completely forgot about it. And this is actually the first time we're seeing him in like a year, I think. I think the last time we saw him was at Naruto's wedding and as kids. And I haven't even thought about him once during the series. Actually, in one of the manga chapters, I thought this one guy was him, but it wasn't him. And he's changed a lot, just like Konohamaru and Moegi, from what I've seen. And he also says that it was Iwabe's ignorance, which is why this has all happened, and that he says Iwabe is going to be confined to his house, and that happens. And then Shikadai points out that missions are given based on people's abilities, so Genin aren't able to do certain things because it'll only lead to failure. Then on TV, they show what the Byakuya gang has done and how it leads to good things. And Metal asks why they're so popular, and Chikadai says it's because people don't like the wealthy people. And he stares at Denki, and Denki says that not everyone in this world is gonna be successful. So that was a few lines said in a few seconds, but it really gives you a realization as to what Denki is actually saying. What he's saying is true in some regard, because not everyone in the world can be successful. Everyone in the world can't be rich. It's not possible. So from Denki's perspective, I'm guessing he's thinking that if poor people are poor, it's because it's their own destiny. That's what it's looking like from his perspective or from a rich person's perspective. Because we never usually get a perspective like Denki's, because there were never any other rich kids in the least that Naruto or any of them were friends with. And I think what Denki says has a lot more meaning than what it seems like, because he says not everyone can be successful, but not everyone tries to be successful. They just try to go by each day however they can. And then there are people who try, but still can't be successful. So it makes you wonder what's it like for the Byakuya gang? Are they trying to be successful with the stealing? Were they ever successful, or do they think stealing is successful? Like, what is their main objective, basically? But let me know what you thought about what Denki said in this episode. Anyways, later, Himawari asks if the Byakuya gang are good guys, which really gets to Boruto, and he tells her that helping people is good, but stealing is bad. And then he ends up blaming Naruto and says that it's all his fault. But he knows it's not Naruto's fault. He's just saying that. Then later, Team 7 and Team Shikadai talk about it, and Boruto questions if Shikadai is on their side because Shikadai points out the fact that people are grateful to the Byakuya gang because of their stealing. And once again, Shikadai shows his wisdom and says that there are things in this world that defy logic, and if they cling to only one view, they'll destroy the balance. But Boruto kind of hears that, but he doesn't, and says that he basically wants to take action. So he goes to Katsuki to get more video games. So after that, we get to the Byakuya gang who are planning out their strategy. And Ryugi notices that they're gonna head near the place where he plays shogi with Shikadai, and he says that he's gonna go check out that area first. So then we get to Shikadai, and he's talking with his mom Tamari, and I'm not sure if she's a leaf ninja now or if she's still a sand ninja and does things for the leaf. I'm not sure how that works because I don't see a headband anywhere on her, so it's really hard to tell. But I would assume that she's technically a leaf ninja since she was going on a mission. Anyways, then Shikadai ends up playing shogi with Ryugi, and Shogi ends up asking him about why he isn't prying into his business. And Shikadai just says prying into people's business is a drag. That was some straight Shikamaru stuff right there. Anyways, then Ryugi asks what he thinks of the village, and Shikadai just says he feels comfortable here. That was the laziest answer ever. And then Ryugi asks about the rapid modernization, which is causing a lot of strain on the village. That's something we didn't know about. So I guess them transferring into this age of technology really fast is causing a lot of problems. But that's all a drag to Shikadai, and he says that there's not much he can do as a kid, and the adults are the ones who have to take care of it, and that they should only worry about how to take care of themselves, basically. And the boy agrees, and it seems like he's come to some realization now that he doesn't have to really worry about things that the adults have to do. So after that, he asks Shikadai about the recent incidents, and he's referring to the Byakuya gang, the one that he's in. And here's where you need to pay attention to wording, because Shikadai refers to them as robbers, and he quickly corrects Shikadai and calls them noble thieves. And in Shikadai's response, I didn't really catch this, but then when I re-looked at the episode, Shikadai calls them unnecessary evil, which Ryugi is actually happy about because it means that he agrees. Because from what he's hearing, it sounds like Shikadai agrees with what he and his gang are doing. So then Boruto shows up and brings out the limited edition games from that he got from Katsuki like a G. And Shikadai is all hype, and Boruto says that he recognizes the boy, but Boruto's not really sure because I'm guessing he recognizes the voice, not his face, because he hasn't seen his face. But the boy says that he's mistaken. So then the boy ends up leaving, and he like disappears and a bunch of snow comes at Boruto and Shikadai. And I'm wondering why exactly he did that. I'm wondering if he's trying to hint to Shikadai that he's in it, because he thinks Shikadai is gonna accept him being in the group. But he most likely knows for a fact that Boruto wouldn't accept him, so I didn't get that. After that, we get to Samire and her teammates. I forgot her name, the one that people think is Kiba's daughter, even though she's not. And she ends up getting surrounded by the Byakuya gang, and Tamari shows up to save them. And she spams her Gale Raging Wall twice, and they start running. And then Ryugi acts as a distraction and runs towards the park, and I'm wondering why he did that, knowing Boruto and Shikadai were there the last time he was there. And Tamari chases after him, and she acts as Shikadai and Boruto to back her up. And of course, Boruto was ready because he's action first, questions later type of person. And Ryugi was also ready with his ice style, but then Tamari asks Shikadai to use his shadow paralysis jutsu, and he kind of hesitates and says that there's kind of a distance, which was definitely an excuse because in the earlier episodes we saw him stop Shino while he was possessed and while he was far away. So I really don't get why he couldn't do it now. Other than him realizing maybe that Ryugi is actually the boy under the mask, but I don't think he notices that yet because he hasn't heard him say anything. But it could also be the fact that he doesn't know if he wants to agree with them or not agree with them. But later, Tamari asks him why he didn't or why he was hesitating, and she says that she knows exactly what it's like and that discretion is his strong point, and she tells him that it's okay to take risk. So after that, we see the Byakuya gang, and apparently they had some help from some villagers, or particular villagers is what they say. And now I guess they're moving into the final phase of their plan. And the episode ends like that. I'm guessing the next episode is gonna end the arc, or maybe the one after that. And in the preview, it looks like Shikadai is gonna find out who Ryugi really is. And I think he won't even have to battle him to figure it out if he's half as smart as Shikamaru was when he was a kid. Because based on how he was talking to him in this episode, if Shikadai puts the clues together, he'll have reason to be suspicious of Ryugi. So this arc kind of has two fronts or two faces, I would say. We see Boruto trying not to agree with the Byakuya gang even though he understands them. And at the same time, we see Shikadai who kind of agrees with them or sees their side, and he doesn't really have any qualms against them. It's evident when he kind of doesn't really have any problems with them because he calls them a necessary evil, which translates into him thinking that they're necessary. And because he thinks they're necessary, he has a lot of doubts in his head as to whether he can actually stop them and if stopping them is the right thing to do. He really doesn't want to attack them because in his mind he thinks that they're necessary. And that's just holding him back. So there were a lot of stuff to talk about during this episode of Boruto. Like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure the next episode is going to wrap up the arc. But let me know what you thought of this episode in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and bye.